Ha 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 ha! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Stump. We do this every single Wednesday, 3 o'clock-ish on the squishy chairs at 98.1 The Max Studio. Next week, we got some special guests coming up. Next week, I believe, we got the Ellie Badge, Jeremiah Matthews coming in, talking about his new album. I think the week after that is 4th of July week, so we may not have anybody that week. We'll see. And then the week after that, Louise Page. Maybe we'll get Heels for the second coming, because I know their album release is at the High Tone. That is happening, I believe, July 12th. If I'm wrong on that, forgive me, Josh. But today, I'm very excited, and because we have a very special guest, man of many talents, tall dude. No, he's not a UFC fighter. He is not a UFC fighter, but you are a big man, and you play a big instrument.
I do.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, Daniel Dwight.
What's going on, everybody? Ross.
My man.
God bless you, brother. It's good to see
that
you.
Close so everybody can hear you.
Yeah. Usually I talk really loud, so the thing is my mother and my sister get on to me for it because it sounds like I whisper with a bullhorn.
That's cool, man. Dude, I'm really pumped to have you in today because a lot of people like to stay in their lane. They got a kind of a way they go. You are all over the place.
Yeah.
And just
and thank you. Like, that's a cool thank you.
Seriously, I mean, you're very diverse. You play with a lot of bands. You play all genres, country, rock, metal. I mean, anything under the sun. And I think that makes a well-balanced individual as well as a musician. And if not, you just get exposed to all different kind of crowds. So.
True story. I started off, loving country music growing up, and then my Uncle Jeffrey introduced me to Ozzy Osbourne, and it was over. But having that rock influence, country influence, R&B influence, and also I actually picked up a lot of rap gigs lately, putting bass on live rap. And
really?
And it's really, really fun. Like, it's the coolest thing. With the Brasco, we did a music video called "Eat You Alive." Okay. And it's on YouTube.
The Brasco.
The Brasco featuring A Shattered Soul. That's with Jason Gillespie that works over at American Studios. Yeah. Good dude. So
you're playing with him? I mean, and
playing with him.
Yeah, let's kind of just list off the litany, or who you, because I know you're playing with Zach Bear Band right now.
Right now, yep.
And
Duke Henry,
you're getting ready to go on tour with that band.
Yes.
Opening for Patti Smith.
Yes. Patti Smith.
The one and only Patti Smith. Not
the
like
one and only Patti Smith.
Not a Patrick Smith that we don't know about.
No. This is not a man from Ireland. This is the Patti Smith.
Wow.
And I'm super, man, I've been blessed to play with a lot of folks, but I really look forward to this one.
I believe
it'll be a whole lot of fun. Plus Zach Baer, owner of Rock House Live.
We played I think we played one of the singles,
Rutherford Drive.
Rutherford Drive on the Nooner every day at 12 o'clock. That's when you can listen to Nooner. So we try to get like a nice kind of revolving door of local and new artists. Yeah.
Because I actually played bass and co-produced that.
Oh, wow. All right.
So, and that's the other thing is now, as we talked about, I've been in a whole lot of projects. I've always wanted to do my own thing, but never really had the time because I was always focused on just playing bass and all that. But after many, many, many years of just thinking about it, writing songs just for no reason, then now this is the time that I met Jason LeCompte from Evanescence.
Okay.
He's a guitar player from Evanescence, and we got to talking. Great guy, and he's going to produce my new record.
Really? So
sure
this is going to be, is it under your name?
It's going to be under my name. Like, I'm no longer, of course, I'm going to play with Zach and Duke Henry and a lot of folks. But this is like my passion project. Yeah. Like, this is, even if I just get one song out and hear it on 98.1 The Max.
Is that foreshadowing?
Foreshadow. I'm just wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But yeah, man, this is something I've really wanted to do. I believe this will be the biggest thing I've ever done in my career.
It's a good feeling.
It is, especially where I'm at right now in life, is that it's like the Jamie Johnson song, Burning Down the Roses. It says, I know I should be hurting, but I'm smiling ear to ear.
Uh-huh.
It's one of those things, man. Music's the therapy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
Native blood.
Because I would imagine, will you say that because say that lyric again?
I know I should be hurting, but I'm smiling ear to ear.
Are you saying that because it's never been, there's like more stuff going on, or it's harder than it's ever been, but it's worthwhile?
It is. It's a whole lot harder. And having to, when I was a kid, just going in the studio, there was a producer, engineer, and, it's kind of like I always had someone to lead me. And now that I've gone off, on my own to promote myself, mm-hmm. It's a whole different monster. Like, just, there's times where it's like, you know what? Don't want to do it. I can just play bass and make my career, but this is something I absolutely have to do.
Yeah.
And the song is called Dandara.
Dandara.
It's, take it however you want it. But I actually, after this, I brought my guitar. I want to show it to you.
Awesome. Yeah.
So,
is this an acoustic or a bass?
Acoustic.
Acoustic. All right.
So the funny thing is that I forgot to bring in the gift for you, but I'm going to bring in the gift here after we get done. You'll like it. Let's put it this way. You'll always remember it.
All right. Fair. It's kind of elusive. I'm like, all right.
Trust me, you have no idea what I'm going to give you, and it's going to freak you out.
Perfect.
But you'll like it.
All right, perfect.
You'll like it.
Well, we were joking around because I'm glad to have you in here because we'll get this story out of the way now. The first time we met, and like most people I love and I've become friends with, like the first meet is usually like a wild experience. And there was an event at the High Tone about, I guess we're going on a year ago now.
Yep.
Cool. It was Memphis's crappiest musicians. And that was the name of it, but it was the S word.
It was the S word.
We're trying to behave ourselves.
Really trying to behave ourselves.
You told me your first word out of your mouth was the F-bomb?
Yes.
As a child?
Yes. As a child, my first word was the F word because
Who's the uncle? Who is the uncle?
No. The thing is my mother has Tourette's.
Oh, God. Now,
so she says, she curses. By the way, I love that Robin Williams joke. He goes, what about complimenting Tourette's? Like, those pants make you look slimming.
Yeah.
Do
they exist?
No. But the thing is she would say it all the time because she,
Yeah.
So I was just sitting in my car seat, and my nanny, my grandma saw this, and I just looked out the window and I go, fudge. Like I've been saying it my whole life. So,
well, which, by the way, you're a little precocious because that's a hard sound for a kid to make. Because usually it's like da mama. It's the easiest one. You're going full intermediate. Bore. You're going intermediate right off the bat. I like to play the game on hard.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's why, like, when you come see me play, I just feel things like that. I mean. Now, the first word, of course, that's... Sorry. Okay.
No, you're good.
My bad.
Good. So, all right. So we're at this show.
Yeah.
Memphis's crappiest musicians, and the whole premise of the show is you have a fishbowl, Skinny from the High Tone. He put it together. He has a fishbowl full of songs like Toto's Africa, Weezer,
TNT by AC/DC,
a whole litany of one.
Yeah.
And it's just a revolving door of Memphis musicians.
Mm-hmm.
And I was lucky enough to be on there, and at one cycle, so everybody kind of just volunteered their instruments on there. And at the first time I was up there, I get to play bass.
Right.
And I'm playing your bass.
Yeah.
And I think the song we played was Toto's Africa. There's like 17 different chords in there. Okay, and you're with a whole bunch of people that are used to playing punk songs,
Yeah.
rock songs. That is a hard one to learn.
It is.
And so we start playing it, and we're going through it, and you could watch people just visibly responding to it, like,
Yeah, it was like the Red Sea parting. Like they're like, I'm just gonna.
It was horrible, and I'm seeing this, and I'm hearing it, and I'm like, this is. So what I did was I take your bass guitar off the strap off, and I put the bottom where like the peg is that holds the
right on the
strap,
stage at the bottom,
and I and I put my mouth on the head of the guitar. And then put my mouth on the head of the guitar, and I go to like simulate blowing my brains out in shotgun while trying to play the notes.
I know. I was like,
and all I hear out of the back is, "Hey, mother, that's my guitar!" And you run up on stage and snatch the guitar from me, and I'm like trying to explain it while the band hasn't stopped.
yeah, you're like, dude, and I'm like. I was just like zoned out because that was the first like
Someone
really
was
nice
shaking your
endorsement bass.
Oh, okay.
So I had just, and it was in a custom color.
What color was it?
That like teal blue,
Okay.
dark ocean blue with a black pick guard.
I remember it was
that
blue.
Sterling Stingray.
It's a beautiful looking
It
bass
is.
guitar.
It is. And the thing is that I saw you do that, and I was like, this fool, I don't even know who you are.
No.
He's got my guitar. I just got it.
Yeah.
And he's putting his foot on it and putting his mouth on the dadgum headstock. And I'm like, man.
And it was
the mother.
Oh yeah. And I had never met you. And you're what are you, 6'4"?
6'3".
6'3"? I'm 5'10". That is a whole lot of 5 inches that I'm looking up at. All right. and I'm like, oh my god, this guy's gonna beat my ass. And so you take the guitar and run off stage, and no one stopped.
Stopped.
It's like watching the parent beat the kid in the DMV.
And you don't say anything.
You don't say anything. You just keep going.
Awkward silence.
Yeah, but everybody's playing this terrible rendition of Toto's Africa. So I run off stage after you. I'm trying to explain it to you, and you explain to me it's a guitar, it's custom to me, it's dear to you, and I don't think we communicated right, but you still let me go back on stage and finish the song.
I sure did.
And I was like, all right, thank God that's over. And it wasn't until afterwards where we had a safety meeting.
Yeah, we had a safety
meeting after the whole show was done, and I tell you that, and explain, I was like, no, I'm just trying to blow my brains out with the guitar.
And when I got it, I was like, oh, that's cool, that's funny. So the thing is, so that's why you're the comic and I'm not. I don't see it like that.
Not that day. I was the guy who should have been wearing "Oops, I Crapped My Pants." But fast forward a year later, here we are.
I know, man. It's so cool to be here because I know I messaged you the other day and we've been talking back and forth.
Yeah.
And it's cool that we get like our first real good one-on-one on camera.
Yeah.
So this is something I really look forward to.
Awesome, and I'm real pumped because you play in so many different bands and you have so much history in Memphis music. I mean, I think your palette and kind of like your reference point for the Memphis music as a scene in multiple different genres. I think you probably have a kind of a perspective that not a lot of people would have.
In a way, yeah. There's so many wonderful and badass musicians.
Yeah, I think
I can say ass.
We can say badass.
We can say badass.
But
okay.
I love that you care.
I was like, oh man, Ross just lost his dadgum job.
No, we're just doing
because
that just
of
in
me.
case. I don't know, just in case like a daycare sponsors the show one day.
Yeah,
it's good practice.
No, man, but like going back to the, all the different bands and all the different music. I mean, I was a guitarist tech for Saliva when I was 17. Like, that's how I met Zach Myers.
Okay.
And he was a guitar tech for Chris DiBaldo. He actually got me the job.
Wow.
So he was guitar teching for Chris DiBaldo. I was doing bass and guitar for Wayne Sweeney and Dave Novotny.
Okay.
And it all started there. Like, I got hooked to the road. And then after that, me and Zach formed like the second or third generation of his band, The Farewell.
Yes.
And we went and opened for Three Doors Down, Earshot, Breaking Benjamin, Egypt Central when they were like just coming out. I literally got it like a shotgun blast. Like, as soon as I got in it, everything went. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So right after,
I would think that, and that all right. So that journey started at 17 when like that was like not like the big break, but like that.
That was the foot in door.
That was the foot in door.
Yeah.
Because how do you go back? Like once you've had an adrenaline shot like that, you're kind of always chasing that white whale afterwards.
Very
or
true.
At least that's the bar.
That as they say, if you could bottle it up and sell it, couldn't keep it in stock. It's one of the when that adrenaline hits you, man. For me, getting on stage is I used to be football player, basketball, all this stuff, and that's how I would get that bump. But then when I injured my back, and really got focused on music, I found out that the stage is just as physical as a football game.
Oh, yeah.
And to get that hype, and because I'm always a big believer that if you don't believe it, they're not going to believe it.
100%.
So when I go out, I want to make sure that when I play, I want people to get their money's worth. That's the one thing that I've always said. If you come see me play, because you're supporting me every time someone comes and says, man, I'm here to see you, I am so thankful for that.
Yeah.
Because it keeps me going, because I'm like, hey, at least I'm making a difference, and at least someone likes what I'm putting out.
Yeah.
So...
And even if they don't like you, to have
I
them
can just stand...
No, like the best, even if someone's not into, because there's been people at shows that I've seen that are not necessarily into that type of music.
Yeah.
But if you put on a show, you can't
look away.
You can't look away. So
you have to listen.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something I learned very early on that now of course learn the song.
Yeah.
Learn the song and then move. And that's the thing, is that I actually learned that from Ed Harris. He was the one that told me, he goes, I don't care what you do on stage, as long as you play that song like we put in the CD and hit play.
Okay.
So,
yeah, no,
I mean, if you notice, that's what makes a lot of bands different. It'll literally set you apart from just any local band. If your band knows everything is tight on a rhythm and running a set like that feels good, has that energy that keeps people into it. Again, talking about all this makes me want to play now. But I mean, it's intense, but also it's like the greatest release, in a life that is really hard. Being a musician, being on the road, missing things, sitting on a tour bus when someone dies, or, hey, I could be at home, I missed my sister's wedding because that was when I was 17 on tour with Saliva, my first gig. So it's really, I forgot where I was.
But that is kind of the kind of stuff that doesn't get talked about a lot. It's like the glamour of, but you get to do this, you get to go see that, you get to see the crowds, and that is a high, and that is awesome.
Absolutely.
But there's a cost to that, and a lot of musicians, they miss out on family time. They don't get to see their kids walk for the first time,
right?
And stuff. And they're usually young. Like bands are young. It's a young sport, especially starting out. So, like the young families, and you kind of miss out on that. But that's the kind of trade off.
It is, and the thing is what are you willing to do to solidify yourself in an industry that is so fickle that literally it's here today, gone later today. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it really, I mean, of course, it has its ups. Yeah. But really, the reason that I still do it is because I know that there's some point where I'm going to step on a stage and it's all going to be out. Yeah. And I'm going to get, that's the thing. When I play, I want to connect. Like, I want you to be into it. Mm-hmm. I want you to like what we're doing. And if you don't, like we said earlier, whatever. God bless you. You know, at least you can enjoy the show. At least you can enjoy a 33-year-old man jumping around, you know, like a fool with a squirrel up his pants.
Yeah. I was dancing. I was like kind of getting ready, and he was like, "Look like a squirrel got in your pants." Like, man, we're about to get. Who's playing the jug?
Who's playing the jug? Man, we're about to get country up in here. I mean, again, maximum rock. But the thing is, you know,
country is
it's getting there.
Well, I would like just Eric Church. I think Eric Church was the number one tour raking money this past year, and that guy puts on a arena rock show.
I opened for him in Hernando.
What?
That dude had he broke his foot stomping it the night before, and he played in a walking boot. They opened with Pantera's Walk.
Are you serious?
Dead serious. It was the absolute coolest thing. I mean, he was just sitting there like, man, he had this red cup, you know, literally a drink in my hand. That dude was gone because, you know, when you break your leg or break your foot stomping on a concrete stage and then take a little painkiller or something and they start drinking,
Oh, they don't mix well. Mm-mm. They don't mix well. Mm-mm. Or they mix just right. That's funny. So you got to open up. Who you're playing with at the time when you got to open up for our church?
The Dirt Brothers.
The Dirt Brothers.
I put out a few videos from that time. Mm-hmm. Time to Party, Barnyard Pimp. Barnyard Pimp was actually one of my favorite ones. It was actually number 4 on CMT, like when they were still playing like independent videos.
Okay.
And they were doing a like show of all of the new best videos, and they got to rank them, and we got to 4. Wow. So that was really cool, and it was Barnyard Pimp that got us there.
Yeah.
So playing the Billy Block show in Nashville it was on the radio live, and I mean we played with Jamie Johnson, Lee Bryce, who else? Leonard Skinner, Three Doors Down. Mike Huckabee got up and played bass with us one night.
Really? That's pretty slick. That is slick.
I mean, it's just, you know, but you know what I'm talking about. When you're at a show, you never know who's going to be there.
100%.
And if you know them and they want to get up, be my guest.
Yeah.
Because whenever you have something unexpected like that, that's what makes a show.
Yeah. And the crowd could probably sense that too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I know I've been in the audience and been like, oh, this is special right now.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of cool.
Instead of that guy being special, this is special.
And also, it's kind of a humble moment too when you get to kind of see that and kind of step back and be like, all right, now I get to watch. Like you're putting on a show, and then you get to be
just like a spectator. And again, I always approach everything. I'm a fan of music. Like I'm not like, oh, I'm Daniel Dwight, I did all this, blah, 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 blah. I'm a fan. So even being able to sit back like that and see is just, like you said, like with being able to cover many genres, mm-hmm. but being able to step back and see something like that with those special nights, either on tour or even here in Memphis. Because, again, you never know who's going to show up.
It's true. It's true.
And there's so many great musicians, especially bass players. It really makes me want to cut off my fingers sometime. Like Michael Mo Morales of Mo Boogie.
Uh-huh. That
dude, now he played bass for Zach Myers when it was the Zach Myers band. He was his bass player.
Okay.
When Zach was like 13, 14. And ever since I met Zach, I got to meet Mo. And Mo is absolutely one of the best bass players I've ever heard. I'm telling you, this guy you'll just go, why do I still try?
Yeah.
I mean,
that's good though. I love seeing that because every once in a while you can get full of yourself.
You
like,
can.
I got this covered. This is great. Look at all the people I'm hanging out with, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden you see somebody kind of presses the reset button. You're like, I got to go practice. We were
Damn straight.
We were at a show. We were at in Oxford. We were seeing this band called White Denim, kind of like an indie rock band from I think Austin, Texas. And I'm sitting in between. And I think we talked about this on the show, but I was sitting in between the guitars for Flaming Lips and the guitar Jake Inglis and the guitars for Heavy Eyes.
Sweet.
Bands I love and local dudes. And we were watching this guy jam, and we all kind of looked at each other and like, we need to go practice.
Yes.
And it was this beautiful moment where everybody kind of just felt like, it's a right size moment. But to go back to what you're saying, you're a fan.
Yeah.
To be a fan is, I mean, you got everything starts there. Like, how old were you when you started playing the bass?
I was 14, 13. And I got actually into playing bass because I heard Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Really?
So that was my biggest influence is him, Geddy Lee, and Mo Morales. He makes me sick. He's so good.
That's like Victor Wooten.
Exactly.
Victor Wooten, man.
And Victor Wooten is probably the greatest bass player of all time when it comes to like Jocko and Victor Wooten, Stanley Clark, all those guys.
Those guys are like that's like a totally different category.
They're in outer space.
Yeah.
Like not even here on this planet.
Yeah.
And that's like going back to, it makes you want to go home and practice.
Yeah. Do you remember the Chili Peppers moment?
Oh,
the Flea moment?
Yes.
What did it?
Yes. I heard Give It Away.
Okay.
And I was like, man, how does he do that? And boom, go, ba-doo-doo. And I was like, man, that's pretty boss. And I kept listening to Blood Sugar Sex Magic and hearing Suck My Kiss and dadgummit, Funky something
Funky
and
Monks.
B. Yeah.
Funky Monks,
That
man.
song is so good.
That's my favorite Chili Peppers song because of that guitar riff.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, man.
Yeah.
That's catchy.
And you know what? Have you ever found yourself like going back to songs when they came out and you didn't like them, but now you'll listen to them and go, you know what? Like Danny California. I hated that song when it first came out. I listened to it last night while I was doing a couple things, and I was like, man, I sold this song way short because of how the Chili Peppers and how I got my style is I play bass like a lead bass player, not just,
Sitting
boom,
in the back,
boom, boom,
following
boom,
around.
boom. Right.
Yeah.
And it's just because I hear things that only the bass can do. It's not something you can do on the guitar. It has to have this like baritone melodic feel. And if a bass player can pull things off like that while keeping the root notes and staying in the right key, it's like hitting that stride on stage, and it makes things so much better. I now forgot where I was again. I'm the most forgetful person on the face of this earth. My sister.
We're gonna call it like the byproduct of being the guitar tech for Saliva at 17 and
Oh my
being
God.
rocket.
I've been
into
just
the next dimension there on afterwards.
Dude, I've just been so focused on music that literally I've let a lot of things go to the wayside just because I'm so determined on this one. Like, again, doing this song that I wrote every part of it.
Yeah.
I'm going to have the biggest blessing to be able to co-produce a song with a guy that has 2 platinum records under his belt.
Yeah.
And he's a songwriter. And John LeCompte, being able to do this with him is like a dream. You remember when Evanescence came out?
Like 2003, 2004?
Yeah, that Wake Me Up, Wake Me. So when I heard that, that's like really what pulled me into wanting to tour and see what everything was about in that spot. So being able to work with someone that you admired, and I didn't know it was that guy until I just started talking to him.
Yeah.
So it's a humbling experience to be able to do this with John. So, because this guy has so much stroke and just a great ear. He's in a band called Eight Eyes. That is absolutely amazing. They sound like Alice in Chains and Deftones made a baby.
Okay.
It's kind of like, you remember that band? Oh, God, they had a song called Dance of the Manatees.
No, I don't.
It was so good. It was so good. I'm going to show it to you later. You'll like it.
Is this like a sister of those bands? Or is
Yeah.
It, okay.
Yeah, it's
right.
a sister of those bands. So, I know we're running around in circles and stuff, but I mean.
That's what conversation's all about, man.
I know, and it's just nice.
So when did you start working with John from Evanescence?
I just, literally about 2 months ago.
Okay.
So what we do is we send each other back and forth, what we're working on, but we're both working on the same song. We have got it to where the song is blossoming into something that I truly believe hasn't been heard yet.
Okay.
Like when I'm putting a lot on myself for this one. John has very much directed me and gave me that, like, on the road, you have those side guardrails.
Yeah.
That's what he is for me.
Gotcha. Doesn't let you go too far one direction, too far the other. Keep you focused on the prize.
Right. And he always lets me know that it's worth it.
All right.
He is a really, really good guy. Like, I'd be that dude, you'd want to be in a foxhole with him any day, because he will make something sound so good that you'll go, I give up. Literally, I can't do any better than that. Dude's awesome.
That's good.
And also, when it comes to this record, I'm going to play drums, bass, guitar, sing. Like, I'm doing all of it.
Okay.
I'm not just playing bass and singing. I'm going to do everything. Because if I'm going to do it, if you want something done right, do it yourself.
It's funny because last week we had Alyssa Moore in from Move the Air Studio, and she just put out
She's
her album.
amazing.
She is amazing. Farmer's Revenge, I believe, that comes out on the 21st, which is this Friday.
Yes, check that out.
Yeah, and she plays every instrument on that, and doing that, because it's like, and I think her explanation was a lot like yours, is that whatever you have in the back of your head, no one's going to be able to do that, and sometimes words don't really accurately describe the sound or feeling that you're trying to convey, so
100%.
Just might as well do it yourself.
Right. And that's the thing, is that it will fall on me.
Yeah.
No, because from starting with Saliva, The Farewell, Saving Abel, Ingram Hill, The Dirt Brothers, On a Dead Machine, Inner 61.
These are all bands.
These are all bands I've been in. And that's the thing, is I've been able to play with so many great musicians that I respect, and that I've come to just, a lot of them are family to me. Like Sean Lloyd from Inner 61, one of the best singers and best voices I've ever heard. And now he sings at Hope Church over on Walnut Grove, the big church.
Yeah.
That guy can sing and make you cry. And I'm actually going to put up a video of us doing our single, New Way. And it was filmed at Newbies when Newbies was still here. When Newbies was still Newbies, and there was a big concert venue side.
Yep.
Not just that one side.
I mean, it shut down the week I moved here.
Oh.
I knew it was, from what everybody said at the station, but they sent me there. Because they're like, just go there and give out some tickets or something like that and bring the van down there. I was like, all right, cool, I'm the new guy, I'll do whatever.
Yeah.
I stole a brick from them. so I took a brick, and we have it as our doorstop at the station, in the studio right now.
Brick by brick.
Yes.
Man, that was one of the best nights of my life, because we filmed the whole show.
Yeah.
And it was done by Unbreakable Productions from here in Memphis. And it was the lights, because when you get playing a show just on its own as a musician is amazing. But then when you see lights and trusses and ego risers and you know your band's name on that kick drum, it's like, man, I better stick around for this one, because you, even by the setup of that night, it made the night. Just being able to step up and know that everything was professionally done and done right. It was the most amazing night. Now, it was hotter than hell, and you can see, because what they did is they, you know, of course we wore what we were going to wear before, and they did close-ups during sound check, and then filmed the live part and used the live audio. So the thing is it looks like, you know, I'm all clean and all that stuff during the close-ups, but then when they zoom out, like, I've got sweat all the way down here, and it's just looks nasty. But again, that was probably the greatest night of my life.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I've been blessed to be able to do a lot of things, and I'm very thankful for it.
And you, I mean, well, it's funny you're saying that's looking for the best, and it seems like you got a lot going forward. I mean, with the Zach Bear Band, what are the dates on this Patti Smith tour?
They will be announced at the beginning of August.
Okay.
And it's still being booked because there's more shows that are being added right now.
Gotcha.
So we're not, you know, we're going to kind of stay quiet on it until we can really throw it out with dates. So this is actually a little exclusive.
Gotcha.
Because, you know, no one knew this before now.
Fair. Sorry. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
What a cool feeling. That must have been a really cool phone call to get.
It was. Zach told me, because the thing is, you know, Zach Bear Band, they call Zach.
Yeah.
But just to know that Patti Smith wants us to come out with her.
Yeah. I mean, she's a legend.
I know. And again, I'm so looking forward to it. And I can't wait to see, like, because apparently there's also something in the works with Scott Stapp and going overseas to Australia. So, and it will involve the Zach Bear Band.
That's just a sentence that I don't think that I'm going to open up for Scott Stapp in Australia. Like, that's just a ridiculous sentence. That's pretty cool, man.
It's cool, you know, because actually
if
show,
it happens, you know, like, it's the other things need to kind of.
Yeah, but my first show I ever saw live was Creed at the Pyramid. Finger 11, Days of the New, and Creed.
Days of the New.
Oh,
man, that's a good.
I finally found a reason. I don't need an excuse. I love that band.
Making acoustic
rock. It was just.
That's a tall order.
It is, and you know what? You'll see that actually I have a little bit of that influence in the songs that me and John are producing now.
Okay.
So now it's not going to be that heavy, but the feel of it, like Dave Matthews Band, and I mean, I'm a fan of everything that is good. If it's put together well, I may not have to be a fan of it, but I can appreciate it.
Yeah.
When it comes to all of the music I've heard and had to learn from, because that's always what I did, and I hate to say it, because I was always the guy coming in to replace somebody. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I got a kind of bad rep for it. And, you know, it was...
because
I was always the guy coming in and kicking someone out. Yeah. And I always enjoyed what I was doing. But, I got a bad rap for it. And
well, there's two sides to that coin.
There is.
I mean...
it's like, you know, I was hired to do something, so... really, they made a decision to bring me in. Yeah. You know, and it's when it comes right down to it, you've got to do what's best for the band as a whole, collectively, when you go out and present yourself. Because if you go out and present yourself with someone slacking, it's noticeable. Like, you know, if there's a guitar player on stage, and especially bass players and drummers that are not together, if a bass player and a drummer are not together, it'll mess up the whole band. But if you have two crappy guitar players and a great bass player and a great drummer, that band will always sound kind of good because the rhythm section's there.
Yeah.
And that's not just because I play bass. I learned how much bass and drums can be melodic without just being pounded.
Yeah.
It can do other things than what you think. I mean, I've thought about having things when I'm playing on these songs with John that, I mean, we're literally getting trash cans and, pots just to make noise, and it adds a whole new degree of a production that it's something you could really get into.
And that end, I mean, I imagine because this is not your first rodeo, every time you get to go into that kind of environment, it becomes a little less intimidating over time. So to try new things wouldn't be as daunting as it once was. I mean, so like getting a trash can, you're like, yeah, we could do that.
Yeah, I mean, you just got to remember, like, of course, when I first met him, it's like, man, that's John from Evanescence. Like, this dude's amazing. But then when you get down to it and you meet him and stuff, and he actually helped me open up and see more things like that.
Yeah.
And that it's like Bert from The used to have on one of the songs I think it was A Taste of Ink or something like that, when he's doing all those real guttural screams, his band was literally throwing pots and pans at his back.
Really?
While he was doing it, they were beating him with pots and pans.
Wow.
Because again, it goes back to if you don't believe it, no one else is going to believe it.
True. I think it's funny that you said you didn't know who John was when you met him. Well,
I didn't.
What trips me out is because I could be a little moody. So if I'm walking around, I know, but like if you walk, because you don't know who you're going to meet at any given time.
True.
So you want to put your face on, but you can't be in character all the time. So sometimes you don't know who you're going to rub wrong. So it's just funny, like, if you meet somebody, you're like, I don't know who this guy is, and if you caught me on a douche day, like, you may not like my ass.
Yeah, I mean, hey man, it's just all in timing.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, a good guy like you is just easy to get along with. It's like,
afterwards,
if you're just open, and cool, you can be a douche. And I was going to say another word. You can be a douche, but as long as you're still like a respectful and have couth, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It really doesn't matter. I mean, I've met, some of the bigger musicians, and they are like that at times if they don't know you.
Yeah.
If they don't know you, it's more of like smile and nod, and they're getting away.
Yeah.
But like you said, the douche day.
Hey, catch somebody.
It happens. It happens.
I hate hearing that when someone says they had an experience with somebody, and I'm like, and you've been on the road. It's a hard life.
Very.
And everything's usually, I think it was Stubblefield who said it, like, the road's easier than being at home because everything's mapped out.
Yep.
So, I mean, you're
on a schedule.
And you're on a schedule, and everything, you got to be here, sound check for this, maybe a radio interview for this, magazine.
Especially when you're promoting a new single, and then you have to go do acoustic tours and fly dates and all that stuff. Fly dates are a pain in the ass.
Really?
Yes.
Was it just like one puddle jump here and then back?
Yep. One of those things, and they're like, hey, just bring guitars, pedal boards, and that's it. So you have to call for backline when you're touring, going somewhere when you don't have your amps and drums. So they'll provide that backline, like actual real nice backline. But to get there and have to learn all new equipment just for one show that really is like Evansville, Indiana, whatever.
You want it.
Yeah, you literally run into spots like that when you tour. I mean, it doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah.
You still got to do stuff that sucks. I mean, people are like, man, I hate this traffic. Man, I hate flying to freaking Newport News, Virginia to play for a bunch of college kids that were just jumping in a bouncy house and didn't give a dadgum about what I was with Ingram Hill at that time.
Yeah.
They did not care one bit that we were there. And it was, now again, I love Ingram Hill. Yeah. I enjoyed my time playing with them, and they taught me a lot. But again, those fly dates, man, they'll kill you. They'll kill you.
But that's different from that's the schedule.
Yeah. And then and yeah, you get the tour schedule, and it's all lined out like to the hour. And if you're not on that schedule and it gets off when you're, because again, there's a manager, a booking company, a record, all of them are going to make money because you played. Mm-hmm. So if you don't play, they don't make that money. That doesn't make them happy.
Yeah.
So you actually have pressure on you from other people, and not just like, you can't go, man, I just don't feel it today. And when you get to North Dakota and you're like, I don't want to do it today, but that's the times when you find out if you really want to do this. If you ever step off that bus and say, I don't want to be here, you need to go home, because there's someone that will come and fill those shoes in 2 seconds and do it 10 times better. Yeah. So,
I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it.
And that's like with Nashville, I played with a band called Adair's Run, and they are actually the house band at Wild Horse, whatever it is, Wild Horse Saloon in Nashville.
Is that the 3-story bar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're doing that. I mean, and in Nashville.
And that's a dog-eat-dog world.
Yes, it is.
That's a pay-to-play city.
Yes. And what was that song? Playing for Tips from a Pickle Jar. I think it was Jason Aldean or something like. No, it was Eric Church. Eric Church, and he sang in a song, said "Playing for Tips from a Pickle Jar," and he's talking about dadgummit, it's right there on the end of Broadway.
I don't know, Bridgestone,
I forget,
or something like that, or it's an actual bar.
It was an actual bar.
Okay, all right.
And it was no. Anyways,
it's
whatever.
a bar.
Yeah, it's a bar in Nashville. But going back to the cutthroat part of it, and that's the thing up there. There's unions, and just for musicians, and there's an A, B, C, D squad that they'll call you, and you got to be ready to go at that moment. So, and you've got it. You don't know what you're walking into, and this is the part of like playing bass and being in the studio that I love, because you don't know what you're walking into. If it's not your band and they're like, hey, we need a bass player to come in and put something on this, like with Brasco, Eat You Alive. That song just had something about it that I'm like, man, I can add something to this. So being able to play different music every time you step in the studio really keeps yourself open to how much you actually need to be on your game. Because those A, B, C, and D squads and those guys making like big bucks just recording in the studio, again, if you really want to do this, it's there. It's there.
How many songs do you think you have up in your head right now that you can just recall on bass?
Oh my God. I could go through the Mud Flap King set list. that was what, 60 songs? With Ingram Hill, they gave me a week and a half to learn their very first independent record, June's Picture Show, and then the brand new record, and go out on tour with that. Like, I had a week and a half to do all of that.
Actually, I don't know why that sounds like a long time compared to some of the other stories I've heard, man. That's tough.
Yeah, and especially because, they were putting out Cold in California. It was their new follow-up to, She's Almost Perfect. And I was the new kid on the block still. I was like 21, 22. This was right after Saving Abel too.
Yeah.
And it was just a humbling experience because I really learned where I was when I had to learn all of those songs. But when it comes to, you're saying, how many songs do I have in my head right now?
Yeah.
Literally hundreds.
Yeah.
I mean, it's if you want me to name them,
No, God,
I can start going.
God, no. I don't think there's enough internet to store it.
No, there's not enough data.
Yeah.
I barely remember. Never mind.
I'm going to say, why don't you lose your track of thought? It was probably boom, boom, boom. What?
What? Yeah. That's the thing. It's like squirrel. I just get off and go in my own world. The only time I really can stay on point's when I play.
That's good.
Really? I mean, yeah. But, Ross, I'm going to tell you this.
What?
I'm extremely jealous of your beard.
I
am. Look at how amazing this is.
I'm just fighting off all these mosquitoes, man. That's all it is. They get caught, and I just go, and I just eat them up, man.
Geico.
It's fiber.
It's fiber and
Being on the
protein.
road, man. Fiber's important in that diet.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. My favorite thing to talk about, it usually happens off camera, is how do you take a good dump on the road?
Oh, hot bagging.
Hot bagging?
Hot bagging. Because you can't crap on the bus.
No.
Because the thing is, so what you do is you get a plastic bag and you put it, this is something I never forgot. Oh my God, when Josie Scott told me to throw his crap out the window while the tour bus is moving, that's how I learned what hot bagging was.
What state are you in? There's just a bad crap.
We were still in Texas, It was one of those things like, man, hot bagging and then a bunk sock and all that. A bunk sock.
A bunk sock. I got an idea what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what?
It's when you're in a relationship on the road. Thank God I got out of one. Anyways, what? Yeah.
Hot bagging makes me think we were a little too hard on Dave Matthews for the Chicago incident.
I know, right?
I think they dumped all. If you're not familiar, Dave Matthews, they're going over the bridge and they dump their sewage out of their bus, and it lands on I think a tour boat underneath them.
It did.
Yeah. Meanwhile, bands are throwing hot bags of crap on the side of the road.
But at least we're being respectful and to everyone on the bus.
Yeah, everybody except the Pelicans.
Exactly. Screw them. I mean, it's just like, David and Goliath. I mean, you do one of these things and just toss it. God. You learn so much. You find out, like, being road gay and having... It's like having a work wife or a work husband. Yeah. You're just with the boys, so it's like sometimes you're just like, hey, man, I need a hug. I just need a hug.
Yeah.
It's...
When you're in the trenches, man.
Yeah, and you got to help, man.
It was like the Greeks were the toughest lunatics and the Romans were the toughest lunatics.
Yeah.
Hand-to-hand combat with swords.
Spartans.
Scares the hell out of me. Like, that's like one thing, like, I hope everybody, like, appreciates the guns because it's going to be a whole lot intimate if it was with swords. Yeah. And the Greeks and Romans would bring friends on the road with them for their road gigs just to get a little love. Because apparently they weren't allowed to bring the women with them.
What?
So they would have a boy.
No!
We're getting real, ladies.
We're getting real, dadgummit.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. They did a little bit more than bang their shields.
Road gay.
Road gay.
Yeah. But
that's what it is. I mean, you end up forming a bond with everyone on that bus or in the van, Respect to all those people that are still in a van, are still touring around, and, even just got mom's old minivan and tore everything out, built bunks in it so two people could probably sleep. I remember trading my first car, my Toyota Ford Ranger, for this crappy GMC, like 4 captain's chairs, the bed that laid back in the back, one of those big touring vans. And I was so happy to drive that damn thing around.
I believe it.
And
it's like a badge of honor.
Yeah, I mean, I went and got the band van.
Yeah.
So I was that guy. I'd always go and make things happen.
I think it was Every Time I Die that were in town, and this is a band that could afford a touring van.
Yeah.
The headline, they get paid well.
Yeah.
But they decided on a van to save money because they all got families.
Yeah.
So they're sending that money like back overseas to the family back home.
Oh yeah, I mean, because now they've come out with the band wagons that are not tour buses, but they are really they are the rock campers.
Yeah.
Of touring, they're a lot more economical. But I've noticed a lot of bands go out in Sprinter vans.
Yeah, that's the
and
thing.
that's really where I think if you can even get to just a Sprinter van now and be able to tour, make money, send it home, all that, you got it made. And that's the one thing that I didn't get and didn't appreciate until I couldn't do it for 4 years. My back went out.
Yeah.
For 4 years. I walked with a cane. I couldn't bend over. I couldn't hold my bass for 4
Was it just
years.
a stupid movement getting out of the shower or something like that? Or did you fall?
It was when I was still active in sports.
Yeah.
I messed up my back as what was I doing? Wrestling, like the Greco-Roman, not WWE.
Not wrestling.
Not wrestling.
Yeah.
The entertainment business.
Yeah.
It's wrestling, dadgummit.
Better get a good contract.
Yeah. But when it comes down to dadgummit, remind me where I was.
Hurt your back.
Hurt my back. Not having the ability to pick up my bass and just fiddle around with it, I took so much for granted. And when I finally was able to pick it up and play again, I really found out what making it was, going back to the Sprinter vans and all that stuff. If you can get by and make ends meet by doing what we love to do, you made it.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean $1 million or anything like that. That'd be wonderful. But if I can make a great living playing music and, I don't have to sell out the arena. I don't have to have a tour bus. I just want to be able to do what I love.
That's what Dave Chappelle, when he was starting out, his dad asked him, "What do you plan on doing?" He's like, "I want to be a stand-up comic." And he said, "Well, are you going to pay the bills with that?" He's like, "Well, how much does mom make?" And I believe she was a teacher, or both his parents were teachers, and he's like $30,000 a year. He's like, "Well, if I can make $30,000 a year doing stand-up, I'll be happy." And his dad was like, "You're going to be just fine."
Yeah.
And he just made it work.
And he said, I actually remember that.
It was like inside the Actors
and
Guild.
he said, and his dad said, but name your price. And if it ever gets over that, get out of there.
Really? Huh. Get over.
Like if you start going over what you initially intended.
Yeah.
And that means like more money, more problems.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Make sure you're doing it for the right reason.
Yeah.
And not just chasing money, but doing it because you love to do it. The money will come. Reevaluate it. So taking all that back to taking things for granted. Now I've literally been knocked down on my ass on this one. And now every time I can pick up my bass, every time I can go to the studio or play with Zach Baer or Duke Henry or anyone else, it is something that I know is a blessing and something I should be thankful for every time I pick up my bass. It literally is having a love, intimate relationship with that instrument. Because if you don't love what you do, no one's going to believe you. And also, you're not going to get any better than where you're at.
Yeah.
Because like we were talking, Mo Morales, or the guys you were seeing, makes you want to go home and practice. But when it comes to us getting out there, when it comes to us actually bringing music out, it's just such a holistic feeling that goes from, if I'm able to make the money to live off what I love to do, if I'm able to continue to make music that I like, that because there's times where, like Lullaby by Sean Mullins,
yeah.
it was written just because the record label said you don't have any hits. They said you don't have any hits on this record. We need you to write a hit.
Yeah.
And he wrote Lullaby. Edwin McCain wrote I'll Be on a Napkin.
Yeah.
On a napkin. And those are also guys that I love, the singer-songwriters. As I've learned my craft of writing, having guys like Sean Mullins, Edwin McCain, Joe Firstman, Gary Clark Jr.
Oh my God.
That dude.
He's one cool cat. He is one cool.
You've met him?
I have not.
Oh.
I just watch interviews with him and stuff like that. I'm just like, man.
You're just like, man, I want to sit back with that dude.
Yeah, and partake. 'Cause
yes.
that guy likes to partake.
Yes. And you know what? I wouldn't turn that one down if I was next to him. I'd be
Absolutely
like, hey,
not.
man.
I think the one time I remember the one time we were backstage and I was interviewing the Pixies, and that was the one time I was like, because one of the guys in the band was like, "You got?" And I was like, "Not on me."
Not on me.
I was like, "That was my opportunity." I was like, "I'll never not have it on me next time."
Right. If you're at a show,
Unless you're a cop and you're watching this, I'm sorry.
time out.
I'm
Yeah.
We're only being in weed legal states.
Yeah, I mean, and plus I can get a card shipped to me from California. Anyways,
There you go.
That's the thing. Don't do drugs. Just give hugs. I like the Awesome Sauce Dance again. I don't know why I'm thinking squirrels, but I love the Awesome Sauce Dance.
Oh yeah.
I actually like that shirt too.
Yeah, dude.
That's pretty boss.
Maybe one of the greatest bands I've ever seen. Monotonics, 3 guys from Tel Aviv, Israel. A drummer, guitarist, and a singer. And what they do is they set the instruments in the crowd, and then the crowd picks it up and they hold up the instrument, the guys, and they're playing.
What?
It's the most, and they all are like the hairiest Israelis you've ever seen, and they all wear bicycle shorts, so their nuts are hanging out the side.
Oh no, Bubba,
It is
no!
one of the wildest things I've ever seen, and they're not even together anymore. But a buddy of mine, it was actually Trip Shoemake from Heavy Eyes. We were talking about how if we
Good
ever
band.
did a documentary on a band, it would be Monotonics, because it was like a flat. They're not even together anymore, but.
That's the it's like the band I was telling you about with that song Dance of the Manatees.
Yeah.
I saw them open for Flyleaf at Newbies.
Uh-huh.
That dude has such a vocal range. It goes from just this high like 80s level control, and then it goes down to just this raw scream that you can feel when you listen to it in the car, man. You feel it in your soul with what he's doing.
Who's your white whale for a band?
My white whale.
Like the one band that either you'd want to open up for, or just rub elbows with. Because it's always kind of a dangerous perspective to like meet your heroes.
I was thinking about that last night.
Yeah. So, who's the one band that you'd be like, I just kind of just like occupied the same space?
This will freak you out with my answer. Michael Jackson or Prince.
That's not that freakish out like an answer. That's like kind of like those are the 2 big heavyweights.
I know, and when it comes down to both of those musicians,
Yeah.
you'll never see that again. They were, Michael Jackson went on stage and everything he did was placed, timed, to the beat. Now, Prince would go out and riff more and just go with however he felt.
Yeah.
But I love that, just the raw, being just Prince. If I got to play Purple Rain or Musicology 101 with him, it's like when he did Purple Rain in the rain at the dadgum Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He was wearing that thing that was tied up on his head.
High
and
heels.
Yes.
Wearing high heels.
And did not slip once. And you know what? I can't believe he actually went, but that was probably the coolest thing I ever saw. And
Speaking of which, have you got to kind of rub elbows and see Mono Neon?
Mm-mm.
He was going to be Prince's bass player from Memphis. He's the one who wears all the neon clothes and has a sock on the head of his bass guitar.
You talking about Chewy?
I don't know his
Mississippi All Stars.
No. Young guy he tours all around. He came to town with the Ghost Note band, and he was practicing at Paisley Park, and was set to go out on the road with Prince.
That's
Prince ended up
crazy.
passing away. Yeah, and he's a local guy, young guy.
Dude, I need to meet that guy.
Neon, man.
I mean, that's the thing is when it comes again the white whale.
Yeah.
When you would be, I saw Prince live at the Pyramid, and it made me just sit there, and I even cried, just because again you can feel it. That dude was having a blast, and when you look at a stage show like they both had, Prince would do a lot of circular stages,
yeah,
and Michael Jackson, of course, would do the the regular old stage.
Yeah.
But how they put their show together after writing those beautiful songs and how they made everything fit, it always goes back to how people see you on stage. Mm-hmm. And those two were the best entertainers ever.
Giving a show.
Mm-hmm.
Giving a show.
And that's the thing. They studied.
Well, you can listen to music in your car. You got to see a show.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the thing is that you can. I don't want to give you just what you hear, because you can download it and there you go. You don't have to come see us. But since we put on that show,
yeah.
If I'm telling you, if you come see me, you know this.
I do.
I'll give it to you, man. And it's probably my favorite. It actually is my favorite thing in the world to do, is be able to make others feel and be happy, or at least just hit a note right between the eyes, right in your chest. Looking good, feeling good.
Careful, she come in here.
Oh God!
Standing in the jar, 98 the max. But I think we're approaching that point. So what? All right, Daniel Dwight, everybody from God knows how many bands right here in Memphis. You can list it off. But where can anybody see you? You have any shows coming up?
I have. I don't have any shows coming up in the next month, just because with Duke Henry and Zach Bear Band, we are shooting music videos.
Gotcha.
Both of them. One of them, Duke Henry will be doing barbecue country style for that one, and we're doing Rutherford. Oh yeah, barbecue country style. Yes, sir.
I smiled at my face. I'm like, yeah.
It's a what is it? Oh, dadgummit, I forgot the words. Anyways, and then we're doing the video for Rutherford Drive.
Okay.
So all of these things will be out in the next month and a half.
Yeah.
But if you go and look at my Facebook page, Daniel Dwight Music, I post live videos, and even I'll just sit there and warm up on my bass, turn on the camera, just because. Why not?
Yeah.
It's fun and
it's free.
Yeah, and it's I want folks to know that when I play, I want you to like it.
Yeah.
Everybody does. Everybody wants you to like what they're putting out. But when we really get down to brass tacks, you always have to stay true to yourself when it comes to this. Because if you don't have something solid to stand on, don't work, man. And you're not going to have a long career if you don't actually stand. And the Dave Chappelle thing. Yeah. You don't, if you can do this, why is that bad? Or it's better because I'm doing what I love to do. It's not because, everybody can take a safe route. This is one of the hardest things I've ever experienced. I'm a kid of divorce, There's a lot of things that have happened in my life. Yeah. That music really put me back together.
I hear you, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I know what you're saying. It's therapy's an easy word, but I don't know.
And you don't have to pay for it. Well, yeah, you do, because if we have some
Most
money,
expensive hobby.
It is. Oh my God.
That and mountain biking.
Oh God. Oh my God. I remember when BMX was the thing. I had a purple and black Diamondback. I thought I was the man.
I had a Super Goose.
Oh,
not a mongoose.
Not a mongoose, but I had a mongoose.
Okay, yeah, it was a Super Goose, and my brother handed that down to me when he got too big for it, and then I did it and I broke it. Like, don't hand anything off to anybody that you expect to come back.
That's why we can't have nice things. No.
Ladies and gentlemen, Daniel, Dwight, thank you so much for coming in today and talking with us, dude.
Thank you, brother. Pleasure. I really enjoyed this. Thank you.
Be on the lookout. So where can everybody find all the music let's start with Zach Bear Band.
Zach Bear Band, you can find everything with him at Zach Bear Band on Facebook, Duke Henry on Facebook, and Daniel Dwight Music.
Gotcha.
On Facebook. I update it regularly, everything I do, even, behind the scenes, things like this and in the studio. I want people to see what I do.
Yeah.
And that's all aspects. So just be on the lookout for those things because they're, few far between, but it's fun.
Awesome, man. Well, I'm glad you're doing what you love. I'm glad you're happy about it, and I'm glad you're confident in it because, like you said, if you're not enjoying it and you're not loving it, why should anybody else do it?
Exactly.
My man. Daniel Dwight, everybody.
God bless y'all. Thank you.
Another edition of The Stump. We do it every Wednesday, 3 p.m. Next week, we have Jeremiah Matthews and company coming in with the Ellie badge. We're going to talk about that. He's got a new album coming out, and I'm trying to figure out maybe what we're doing for the 4th of July week. And after that, we got Louise Page making very, very creative music here in town, and I'm really excited for that one. It's The Stump. I'm Ross, 98.1 The Max, and we'll see you next week.
God bless.